What is up, guys? Welcome to Fieldwork. We are out at a field.
There's three keys to disc golf: driving, approaching, and putting. You need all three to do this disc sport.
But I just wanted to get out tonight, film a couple things. I do have one topic that I'm gonna be talking to you guys about. So basically throughout the years of me playing disc golf, I've had a few different styles of form that I kind of like switch back and forth through, and I can never quite pick what one that I think is best. And recently I kind of realized I've had this way of thinking because I threw my putters one way. That's how I needed to throw my mid-ranges or my fairway drivers or my drivers. I've always felt as though one style of form works better for throwing putters, and then the other style of form works better for throwing drivers, and then both of the forms actually work decently well for throwing mid-ranges. And it might be the type of spin I get on them, it might be the body control, but tonight I'm basically going to throw a few shots of both. And this also is the case with my forehand. I have two styles of forehand that I feel very confident in, but they kind of cover two different shot selections, as well as two different stabilities, I guess, or styles of disc. I got a stack of PA3s here, just gonna be chucking them, kind of show you the form that I think for me throwing putters, not necessarily max distance putters, but the most accurate style of putter throw for me is a little bit more of like this swoopy, like kind of hop into it. I feel like I have very like controlled hyzer releases with it. It's a very slow throw. I feel like I can change the angles on it much better. But I think the most important part is kind of just how the body feels when you're doing it. Like if I'm lining up a 230-foot hole and I can throw it like that, and that feels so much more accurate than how I would throw my drivers, which is a little more of like, which might look very, very similar. But the first style just feels so much more smooth and slower and controlled, which is kind of how I feel like it fits to throw putters. Now, that's not saying that I can't use both interchangeable depending on the shot. It just kind of means that's how I'm throwing the putter. Just a little hop into it and let her fly. Now, the reason I bring this up, I guess, is it's not like any coaching tips today. It's not anything. It's just like, is this something that other people have thought, I guess? Because over the years, I feel like I've battled in my head of like, well, you can't like change your form halfway through a round because you want to throw a putter that way. You got to throw it the same way you've been throwing your drivers all around. And when it really comes down to it, just do whatever you think is the most high percentage to pull off the shot. It doesn't really matter as long as I'm confident in them and they work. So the biggest thing with that kind of putter style of form for me is that I feel as though I can throw slower shots much more accurate. And with a putter, a lot of times I feel like that's important. Keeping the shot slow and controlled. Putters are supposed to be controlled. Not to say drivers aren't supposed to be controlled, but I throw a driver at a higher speed most of the time, and I feel like I can control the throw at a higher speed. It's more of when I want to throw slower, this, I don't know, secondary form, I guess you could call it, feels more comfortable. So that's pretty much it, I guess. I'm just gonna throw some fairway drivers here, basically just a stack of eagles. Whew. Probably just gonna be throwing a bunch of stock hyzers tonight because I'm just really trying to like be smooth, not really work on much, just, I don't know, get a few reps in. The DX Eagle. Haven't thrown this thing for a minute. It was getting too beat up, so I kind of took it out of the bag. You guys know how good of a disc it is. Let's get a little flat release here. Oh, man. I love just throwing smooth shots with the Eagle. So let's talk a little bit about kind of that forehand idea I was telling you. I get a lot of feedback about my flip up forehands and how it's fun to watch, I guess. It's impressive. And I kind of think the same thing, if I'm being honest. Like I can throw them just like a foot off the ground, dead straight lasers. And obviously that's like one of the most just deadly forehand styles. I think I call it like the Big Germ. He's like my #1 forehand inspiration in terms of like flippy stuff and just like the finesse wooded style sidearm. But so this style of forehand that I'm going to use for a lot more of my flippier, straighter flying discs. Take a couple sidewinders here. And you can really just like work some flip up lines. You can do a lot of finesse style turnover stuff. And for the most part, that's how I'm going to throw most shots. So I've kind of realized lately that that finesse flip up style of forehand, if I'm trying to touch more into that 400-foot sidearm type of range, that style's not really going to cut it. It might be good for like a flippy star race, flip up and push, but in terms of like that max distance, a form that kind of looks a little more like this, where you're going to get a little flex on it maybe, and it's almost just as effortless, but it's still just a completely different style of forehand. And just for you keyboard warriors, no, those are not 400-foot sidearms. I'm just telling you the distances I would use these styles of forms, as well as like the different shot shapes. So if I'm throwing a little more of like a pushover, you know, it's a completely different kind of over the top style of form. But some people are only going to be able to throw one arm slot. They're going to be able to come low, flat, or over top. And I've realized, depending on the shot shape for me, both of them are super valuable. And if I can just be confident in both of those throwing styles, maybe they look the same to the outside eye. Maybe throughout a tournament or a round with other players, they wouldn't even notice that I'm changing anything. It's more like in my mind, it's completely different, but it's used for two separate styles of shot. Firebird is one of those discs that I like to use with both styles. So obviously you can just do like a nice stock hyzer, but then also you can do the old, you know, flex over, push it. And so you can throw two completely different Firebird shots. And the thing is like, yeah, I could do like a more like a finesse style pushover shot too, but that doesn't feel as confident. It kind of feels a little like the disc is kind of just flailing, because I don't like doing that finesse style throw in like a higher arm slot. I like coming from the bottom. So if I can just take it more, do like a slight chop over on it, might be different form, but to me it kind of like, it's just the higher percentage. Let me know what you guys think about like this topic. Do you guys use different styles of form for different shots, different distances? I also change up, you know, between a power grip and a fan grip. Buzz SS is a style of disc where I might use both of those backhand forms, you know, depending on the distance. Am I trying to slow it down or speed up the disc? You know, a lot of times I'm going to hit a Buzz SS, just like my normal throw, flip it up to flat. But other times, if I want to, sometimes I feel like I'm better at throwing pure Anheuser left to right pulls with like, you know, that more putter style throw. So I feel like I'm kind of controlling my upper body maybe a little bit more. But yeah, I don't know. Reactor, so money. Ultra. Do you guys use separate forms? Let me know what you think about the idea behind like, if you throw a disc one way, you should just stick to throwing all your shots that way. Because I kind of have always thought that way almost, where I would be like mid-round and be like, man, I know like a nice swoopy backhand throw right here is the shot shape, and I want to throw it like this way. But I feel like that's weird to like change your form mid-round. Even though it's like not necessarily changing your form, it's just doing what you feel is the highest percentage to pull off the shot, which obviously is what you should be doing. Maybe I'm just overthinking it and it just doesn't really matter, but I don't know. Have you guys been keeping up with Bedanza's series with Drew and all the backhand form stuff? If you haven't, you're an idiot. But I feel like form and like how to throw is always popular, especially with the growth of the sport right now. You know, there's so many people trying to learn how to throw. But I think the fact that there's about to be a series available on YouTube with one of the best backhand forms in the game telling you exactly how to do it versus all these coaches out there who aren't good at disc golf telling you how to do things. I think if you really watch this series that Bedanza's putting out, and when it's all said and done, take everything from that and work on it this off season, I think we could see a lot of people make drastic improvements. Obviously, you're going to really have to try and like break it down, but a lot of valuable information out there, guys. We better not see any shitty backhands next season. Guys, a PA3, man, it's so good. I just recently went back to just a lineup of a flippy, a straight, and a stable PA3 for my throwing putters, because they're the putters that I can throw power grip and fan grip, whereas when I'm throwing like a P2 or more of like a deep dish style, I cannot throw them with a fan grip. They just feel horrible coming on my hand bad. And the PA3 is just a disc where I feel like if you're gonna cycle a putter and it fits the hand so comfortably, such a good disc. One of my favorite ever. Oh, just so slow and controlled. Bunch of backhand firebirds into the net. A little bit left. This disc I need to rely more on backhand, I think. Oh, I love that disc. Ding. Oh, thought I was gonna get it. If anyone's got PFN Star Firebirds, send them my way. You know, I thought that one was more stable. That's an old 11-time champ Huck Lab stamp. Thing's absolute money, but because of the color of it, I only throw it when I'm in states where it's like not hard to lose discs. So it's like a deep green, where if I threw that into any of these bushes out here, gonzo. So I save that one for like Arizona. I'll probably throw it because you're just in the middle of the fucking fairway. There's nothing to lose your disc in. Oh guys, this T-Bird 3, it's been a fun one so far. Oh, I thought it was gonna flip up a little more. Hit the crossbar. Oh. Hit the crossbar. I'm putting all these like 5 feet to left. That one might do it. Come on. What? Straight in the net. So the biggest thing I need to work on backhand wise is footwork, foot placement, and probably like also getting my hips into the throw. I feel like my upper body is pretty good, and I'm trying to do that, but at the same time, like, not overthink it and not like not just let my body flow, because I've always been a natural thrower and I don't want to take away my natural ability of just kind of being able to like throw a disc. So I'm trying to like work on these feet but not overthink the feet. Sidewinder, just tip up. Come on, can I hit the damn crossbar once? So one of my like main objectives of this off season, throw further, and work on different angles, not just a hyzer release. I do think on most courses, the hyzer flip to flat release works just fine, but I really need to become confident in like those pullover style of shots. And so those are probably like my two number one things. Obviously, well, not obviously. Another thing that I really feel like I need to work on is height, controlling my disc when it's high. I'm a very low thrower, but I've realized that I think I could naturally add a lot of distance to my throws and a good amount of, give it more air for my shot shapes to work if I trusted my discs higher. And I don't mean like nose up. I just mean every time I've played with really good players, I'm trying to laser these shots at the basket, you know, 10, 15 feet high, whereas they're letting the disc work, you know, 30 feet high. And I'm like, if I just threw it a little higher and just became confident in the height of that throw, it would probably make things a lot easier. Because if it's higher in the air, usually, come on, get some crossbar. Usually it's gonna go a little further instead of me trying to just absolutely piss missile rifle some shots 10 feet off the ground. Guys, those intervals they come out of my hand very, very clean. I tend to like pull over on like Scorpiuses and Destroyers when I'm throwing them on like a left to right pull. The interval, I don't know if it's because the rim is a little smaller or something, comes out so smooth. The only thing I haven't figured out totally yet is, so that's like my beat up go-to bomber Star Destroyer. The interval's relatively new. I've only had them for like a couple weeks. I still think I'm throwing Destroyers maybe 50 feet further. I don't know if that's just because the interval hasn't gotten beat up yet, or if it's because like a beat up Star Destroyer is just goes a fucking mile. It's gonna be a lot of like really dialing in the bag this off season. Scorp. If that doesn't crossbar, oh my gosh. It's my big germ Thunderbird that I used to throw a ton and kind of like cycle it in and out. My 9-speed slot, guys, it's constantly changing. It's almost like a puddle top, but I wipe the stamp, put the Frisbee club on the top. Thing is so pretty. And it flies like that. So, I mean, that's always a plus. Sidewinder. God, those go far. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I think the Sidewinder goes just as far as all my other discs. They obviously just can't stand up to wind. You gotta hyzer flip them. Thing's a piss missile. If this doesn't go into the net, I suck. Well, I suck. That wasn't even close. That was actually such a bad throw. Star Wraith. Oh, that thing is a laser beam. That one doesn't hit the crossbar. Ah, it's gonna be 2 left again. Oh my gosh. All right, guys, we might as well just throw the rest of these. That big germ in my Pro Thundy kind of like flip-flop places. That's crossbar. Yup, I wasn't crossbar, but it was one of the bars. All right, guys, let's try and get a smash for you here. Scorpius. Just a missile. Hit the crossbar. Come on. Oh, dang it. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one. I remember all them winters, drinking Woodford till we drown. Now I gotta go pick all these up. Hopefully I find them all.